And now a moment from Your History and Health Comes First with Dr. Richard Brown.
Welcome to Your History and Health Comes First. This is Dr. Richard Brown, and it is August 28th, 2022. Today, I'm going to talk about something that you may not think is helpful to your health or quality of life, but by the time I'm done explaining it, you will understand and probably agree with me, I hope. And that is music. Music is a universal language. We all have heard it. We all know it when we hear it. But can music improve your health? That is a question that's been around for a while. And that is the question we're going to address today. So long, long ago, before the invention of language and the wheel, Earth's population was exposed to sound. There were sounds in the forest, on the Great Plains, and in the Rocky Mountains and on the shorelines. There were animal sounds like those of the birds chirping and cows mooing and primates bellowing and water falling, rivers running, oceans crashing against the shores, and wind blowing through the trees. Population most likely was in harmony with nature. The Native Americans talk a lot about being in harmony with nature, as they were the first to be on this continent. They lived that way, and they thought it was very important to their health and to their well-being. So there are sounds in Florida today that are blood-curdling sounds as Tropical Storm Ian hits the west coast of Florida at Punta Gorda, Tampa, and in Orlando. Over time, the sounds of environment became music. I suspect that although the early folk faced many dangers, they lived without blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, causing lifestyle choices. Today, people are burdened with many self-induced illnesses and debilitating diseases. However, we have learned in recent years that music can be used as a therapy for physical, mental, and emotional disorders. Music therapy is used for depression, high blood pressure, migraines, ulcers, and even asthma. Music appears to relieve stress and lift depression. Researchers suggest that certain sounds promote the production of pain-controlling endorphins in the brain. I rarely let a day go by without listening to music, be it in my car, while driving, or while mowing the grass, or as I fall asleep at night. Beginning around 2 years ago and all during the COVID-19 epidemic, I have been playing my saxophone a lot. I began by serenading my 89-year-old mother at the time, when it was time for her to go to bed, by playing the song Lullaby and Goodnight. I later joined the local band by sitting in on weekends and studied for 2 years with some of the best musicians known in Omaha. Since COVID, public gatherings have stopped, of course, and now I'm only doing private parties. This experience has provided me with a great deal of peace, tranquility, and satisfaction. While stressful at times, it clearly stimulates the feel-good hormones in my brain. So I encourage everybody to listen to music at least every day. It reduces anxiety and lessens irritability. So, can music improve your health? I say the answer is yes. And you should add music to your life along with regular exercise, healthy food, and laughter. You do these 3 things and you have a great formula for living a long, healthy life. So, life has been very difficult lately for some people because of the pandemic and because of the inflated cost of living. The current political climate, the war that's going on, the impact of global warming continued inequities due to systematic racism and ongoing physical and mental health challenges from COVID are taking a toll on all of our feelings. We don't feel as safe in the world, or our quality of life in the world does not seem to be as great as it used to be. In a recent article dated July 25th, 2022, by Lori Kubicek, MTBC board certified music therapist, a Massachusetts General Hospital, maintains that her research indeed supports the phenomenon that music can improve health and quality of life. She states that each of us can find moments of ease and temporary shift our thoughts away from the difficult daily news. For many people, music can play a role in making that shift, even incrementally. So how can music impact our quality of life, she says? Well, she explained that recently researchers looked at the impact of music interventions on health-related quality of life and tried to answer the question about the best way to help make that shift toward release, relaxation, and rehabilitation. This recent systematic review and meta-analysis is a study of studies. I always liked to do that when I was doing research, because all you had to do is find all the research that's already being done on a particular topic and look and see what their conclusions were. And that research consisted of what is called meta-analysis. So it showed that the use of music interventions, listening to music, singing, and music therapy can create significant improvements in mental health and smaller improvements in physical health, related quality of life as well. While the researchers found a positive impact on psychological quality of life, they found no one best intervention or dose of music that works best for all people. So music is complex, as you know. It is a very rigid discipline that lots of people participate in, but many people don't have a clue to the complexities of music. So as complex humans from a variety of cultures with a variety of life experiences and mental and physical health needs, our connection with music is very personal. Our relationship with music can be a very beautiful, vulnerable, and often complicated dance that shifts from moment to moment based on our mood, preferences, social situation, and previous experiences. There are times where music can have a clear and immediate impact on our well-being, because music is sound. Music can actually cause us to jump or sweat out of fear. It can cause us even to scream if the right sound takes place at the right time and it's loud enough. But to show how music can contribute to our well-being, she lists a few examples. She maintains that it can provide easing a transition to sleep with a smooth playlist, finding motivation for exercise by listening to upbeat dance music, aiding self-expression of emotions by singing, connecting to others by attending a live music performance. And of course, my favorite, of course, is playing music in front of a live audience. There are other times when a board-certified music therapist can help you build that connection to music and find the best intervention and dose that could possibly impact your health and provide a form of healing. So how can music be used as a therapeutic tool? Music therapy, okay? Music therapy is an established healthcare profession that uses evidence-based music interventions to address therapeutic healthcare goals. Music sounds good. Could sound bad, but for the most part, it sounds good. Music therapy happens between a patient and possibly their caregivers and or family and a board-certified music therapist who has completed an accredited undergraduate or graduate music therapy program. Music therapists use both active singing instrument, exploration, songwriting, movement, digital music creation, and more. And receptive includes music listening, guided imagery, music playlist creation, or music conversations and reminiscence. There are also interventions and creations of goals to improve health and well-being. Some of the goals could include decreasing anxiety, shifting your mood, decreasing pain perception during cancer or other medical treatment, increasing expression, finding motivation, and many others. The approach to using music to achieve these kinds of goals and to improve your quality of life in general can shift from moment to moment. And the music therapist can help you find what works best for a particular situation. So the top 3 music therapy tools used by Dr. Kubrick includes, number 1, listening. Listening, this intervention has been studied the most in almost every scenario. It can be done either on your own or in music therapy. The music can be live or recorded. Listening can be done with intentional focus or as background listening. You can amplify emotions for release. You can use music to quiet the mind, or you can utilize the ISO principle and watch music to your current energy or mood, and then slowly change that feeling or that tempo and the complexity to help make your shift. Music listening can be paired with prompts for relaxation or to motivate you to exercise, move more, or to do a task you've been putting off. Number 2, as she lists as her tool, learning or playing an instrument. Active music, making truly engaging your entire brain. This creates the most potential for distraction, pain reduction, cognition, fine and gross motor development, and expression. Some instruments are designed for easier access to free expression or learning than others. Let's take a steel tongue drum, for example. It is set up in a pentatonic scale. I don't have time to explain that right now, but it has a beautiful resonant sound and has no wrong notes. That's what's important. It has no wrong notes. That's important to a musician. He doesn't ever want to play any wrong notes. So a steel tongue drum may be an instrument that you might want to try. And by a design, it just allows you to play. So if you want to engage your cognitive brain a bit, try learning the ukulele. The strings are easy to push. Beginning chords only need 1 or 2 fingers. And there are many great ukulele resources online. So making music with an instrument can be fun and easy. Matter of fact, online, you can find a subject, category, a lesson that'll teach you how to play just about any musical instrument. Playing a saxophone or piano may be more of a challenge for most people due to the need to use all your fingers and your brain in coordination. Playing a sax requires the use of additional body parts, such as the mouth and the tongue. It has some impact on your lungs as well. A board-certified music therapist can help you find the most direct and success-based path to musical expression. Learning how to really master an instrument and read music takes time, patience, and practice. Now that I started back playing the saxophone and have engaged in doing private parties, I don't do it by reading music. I know how to read music. I learned how to read music. I understand it. But now it's more about feeling. I don't have to listen to someone tell me how to play music or read the music off the page. I can feel it. I can listen and I can feel it, and I can translate that to the instrument. And I think that's the best way to learn music and to master an instrument. Now, if you want to play in a symphony, a symphonic orchestra where they insist on you playing music from the notes on the page, then it may be a little more difficult for you, and it'll take longer for you to learn how to play music using sheet music. So singing is number 3. This can be an amazing intervention if you have a good connection to your voice and have a good music therapy relationship where the therapist can help you build your connection to your instrument. There are physical benefits of singing on lung function and emotional benefits of singing lyrics that speak to your truth. A review of a person's music playlist can reveal the truth about a person's life. You might check that out next time when you're with a friend and just ask them to tell you about the few songs that are on their playlist. They may be happy songs, they may be sad songs, there may be the blues, there may be rhythm and rap, there may be funk, there may be religious music. There's lots of different music. And depending on what a person's playlist is, it can tell you a little bit about that person and their life and what's going on with them. So finally, there is the community connection and power of being surrounded by strong, tight harmonies. Now, some people only sing in the shower because the sound of the water and the echoes in the bathroom make them sound better. And so if that works for you, then sing in the shower. It is the strong, tight harmonies that science has identified that is important for calming the spirit and easing some of the pains of daily existence. Now, the bottom line, as Dr. Kubert mentions in her article, she says that although there is not one best intervention, magical song, or perfect genre to make all the hard things in life easier, music can be a powerful agent of change. So if you need some extra findings on the best kind of music tools for you, you might just search the internet, YouTube. However, there are some other resources that you can look for in terms of exploring music therapy and finding certified therapists. There is an organization called the American Music Therapy Association. There's another organization called the Certified Board of Music Therapists. And there's also the American Psychological Association, Music as Medicine. Speaking of strong, tight harmonies, I can't ignore the sounds of the enslaved Africans as a real example of health and quality of life attributes. The enslavement of the African on the continent of the United States is undoubtedly the worst, most cruel, inhumane institution imposed upon inhabitants of the earth that you will ever find. To live a life of forced labor from sun up to sundown, with no payment, no freedom, robbed of language, culture, dignity, respect, religion, constant beating, rape, selling away of your children is nearly impossible to bear. And yet the men and women made music as they toiled. This was in part due the fact that they needed to get through the work itself, but it also transcended to the culture of the slave condition, the mindset of worthiness and disposition. The enslaved Africans brought with them traditions of percussive rhythm that could be made on a drum as easily as with the body. Songs created by the slaves were grunts and moans in harmony that pleaded for divergence and were sung in defiance of their atrocity. And they were expressed in a book that I've been reading called the 1619 Project. But Wesley Morris is the individual who talked about music as it related to the African American. He spoke to these grunts and moans and these sounds and this singing that took place during slavery as they worked in the fields from can to cant. They were called spirituals. And these are this country's original folk songs, songs out of the determination by the enslaved to orientate themselves towards some higher vocation, some point in their mind of a higher level. According to Frederick Douglass, this is his estimation. They were looking for and moving toward a more humane land, either here or perhaps in lesser earthly realm, said Frederick Douglass. This was music that no one composed. It was music born of feeling, of play, of exhaustion, of uncertainty, and of anguish. It was music whose death could elude its own makers. This music testifies to a perilous condition as much as it offered hope that somehow it would end. And so the American music genres called jazz originated in New Orleans, and it is a form that comes from the descendants of the American slave. So as we talk about in modern day, the use of music therapy, and now you can get a degree in it, not only do we know through scientific research that it calms the spirit, that it can improve your life, that it can induce endorphins that make you feel good. We also know that before science was around and before the research was done, we know and have the example of the enslaved Africans who sang and made noises and moaned and created rhythms and occupied their daily life this way in order to overshadow the pain, the suffering, and the terrible, inhumane ordeal that they went through for their entire lives. So I'll leave you with this quote from Wesley Morris. He says, jazz, along with rock and roll, funk, hip hop, has been about progress, about the future. It represents freedom of expression. It's about getting as far away from nostalgia as time will allow. Music that's thought deeply about the lure of outer space and robotics. Music whose promise and possibility, whose rawness, humor, carnality call out to everybody. To other Black people, to kids in working class England, middle class Indonesia, and the cities of Paris, to teenagers in Seoul, Mexico City, Bogota. If freedom's ringing, who on earth wouldn't want to ring that bell? So I began by asking, can music improve your health? I hope I've convinced you that it absolutely can. For if it improved and helped the American slave get through the terrible, terrible experiences that they endured, then it should be able to help you with your stresses associated with the jobs and the news and the TV and the internet and the YouTube and the all of the things that you're faced with every day. So the next time you hear a sound, listen and think, what does that sound mean to me? As a door slam, what does that trigger in me? As a siren sound, what does that trigger in me? As a horn blows, what does that say to me? How does that make me feel? When I hear certain music, how does that make me react? Do I seek out certain music at some time and other music at other times? Understand that the sounds of the world contribute to your well-being and your quality of life. This has been Your History and Health Comes First. And this is Dr. Richard Brown, and I'll see you around.
This has been Your History and Health Comes First with Dr. Richard Brown. And you can leave suggestions at ewcfacts@gmail.com. That's ewcfacts@gmail.com. This has been an EWC Communication production.